Well done! Well done! Well done! Well done! I'm sorry!
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get it.
And we're here, and that's not me. That's Freddy Haase.
Hello, hello.
And this is episode 7. It's 735. I didn't adjust the number. It's episode 735, and I'm banned from YouTube. No big deal. But I thought, hey, I'm banned. What better guest to bring on than Freddy Haase?
Well, that doesn't sound nice. I'm banned from YouTube, so why not bring this guy on?
Well,
yeah, that's probably bad. I don't think YouTube's that known that well yet. So
yeah. So we're on Facebook Live. We're on Twitter Live. We'll be back on YouTube next Sunday. We're very excited about that. And we still make a strong suggestion to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, even though they banned us. It's my fault. I hashtagged something inappropriate, I guess, misspelling. It's a dyslexic thing, but I had it down, and it is what it is. Anytime during this podcast, you can ask us a question, and we'll get to it. But before we start doing questions and whatnot, let's talk a little bit about Freddy Haase. Freddy Haase is he doesn't remember half the stuff, so I have to remember it for him. He won 4 state titles at Ironwood, right? Four, 3,
no,
2?
Two.
What?
2, yeah.
That's BS.
Yeah, no, just 2.
Oh, I thought you won like 4. How many club titles did you win?
Oh, probably 3.
3?
Yeah, club.
3 club titles
so.
with Cisco.
AZFC was the first
AZFC.
one. That's when I went to play and experienced like real.
Oh, that
real
was with
soccer.
Greg Vanny and company.
Greg and yeah, Greg Vanny, Greg Archuleta, Johnny Holt,
Johnny Holt,
Dorian,
shin guards on the front and
Kenny
back.
Wright. Yeah, I mean it was a good cast. That team was, you know, the best player on any team I'd ever played with. The worst player on the team was shined above and beyond. You know, it was pretty amazing.
And you've also you won a national title with Grand Canyon University in 1997.
Yeah.
So and Freddie's a goalkeeper, and he played professional soccer with the Arizona Thunder indoor with me. And where else? You did A-League a little bit, I thought. Did you take off somewhere?
No. You know, I did everything I could around here as far as Saguaros, Cotton, you know, anything local
options
here. And then Thunder. And then, you know, played a little bit, you know, or tried to play a little bit outside of the state and whatnot. And then, you know, had an accident that kind of ended the career.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot.
Yeah. So
you took a rock to the head.
Rock to the head. Yeah. So, you know, lucky to be alive. So, you know.
I remember I was at the hospital and everything. You got that mesh setting. So tell us a little bit what happened. I know where it happened on the freeway. Yeah. And it was thrown the 51 freeway.
51. Yeah. Back there's still that footbridge there now, but it was heading. I guess it would be north. You know, you go through the mountain path, the Phoenix Preserves there, and right before the 32nd Street exit, was in a car. And sunroof was open, and someone with kids were throwing rocks. One came in through the sunroof and hit me in the head, and got like, you know, little lower, I'm probably dead. Little higher, I'm probably dead, and. But you know, it was pretty crazy. Yeah,
I totally forgot that.
Yeah, and that was pretty intense. And then, you know, when I kind of came to a couple days later, you know, I said to the doctor, "Hey, I gotta get playing. You know, I want to." And he's like, "You're not playing anymore." I said, "What? Wait, I've done this my whole life." But you know, I came to deal with it. I guess I played a little bit men's league now, but that's nothing like that.
Well, that's crazy. We have air conditioning going on right now. So how old were you when you got hit by a rock?
I think I was 24, 23, 24, 25. I think 01.
Okay.
So,
oh my gosh, you were young.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
So
yeah,
crazy.
For a goalkeeper, I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know.
And one of the most favorite things I remember about you when we were training with the Thunder. And so before practice, we would shoot, and you would defend with you put your hands behind your back like you're Conor McGregor, and we would hit balls, and you would just save it with your chest. Before you just in indoor, you're just taking it. You're just like saving it with your chest, and we're hitting the ball pretty hard, and that was hilarious. And who was the other goalkeeper? Scott Heileman and Chris Cigar?
Yeah, I remember Scott told you, he said, "You ever played in here?" I said, "Just, you know, fun."
Yeah.
He said, "You got a cup?" I said, "No, I'm not playing baseball right now." He said, "Get a cup and get as big as you can." And I ran with it. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Scott Heileman was.
But
legit.
in the goal, indoor in the goal is a little
different.
A lot different. That's you got to kind of want to get hit. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to fix that AC. That's so loud.
Is it too loud?
I don't know. Comment, is that AC annoying? If so, I'll just shut it off. Hopefully they can't hear it, but I hear it. But this is when you need IT. El Rojo's not here. Ryan's not here. And I had Anthony Hidalgo, who's going to be here, but he has other plans. But we'll make it work. I can do both sides.
Is it because where I'm sitting?
The AC just turned on right when the show started. It wasn't a problem until now. But definitely comment, let us know if it is a problem, or give us a thumbs up saying, "Hey, it's good," and I'll shut it off. But yeah, that's the problem with not having IT to really direct things. But we're gonna. I wanted to make sure we talked a little bit about who you were. Amazing background as far as ability to play, proven winner. You played with AZFC. That's. Who? Greg Vanny, Dorian Speed.
Yeah.
Who else?
Dorian was on that squad.
And Dorian ended up playing professional baseball, right?
He did. Yeah, he did. I think all three of them initially went to go play at FIU. Dorian, Kenny Wright. Yeah, Kenny Wright. And then they all went, you know, their separate ways. I think after that, Dorian did go to play some ball for the Cubbies. But yeah, that team was loaded. It was a
Big athletic team.
Good squad.
Jeez.
Yeah, good squad. And that was my first kind of, I was 15 and they were all 18. Sophomore.
Yeah.
I was a sophomore and they were all going to college. I'm going to junior year. So it was cool.
Yeah.
But I guess that was good for me in the goal because, I always got to play, after that year the next team was coming up and needed a goalkeeper. So I got to play with, older kids, which was probably helpful.
So I had I want to kind of steer this podcast talking about back when we played in the early 90s, soccer was a lot different than it is today. For example, my son was in the state championship game for 2006 out at Bell Bank, and they lost to CCV. But yesterday there was another state championship, 06, between Tuzos and Arizona Arizona FC, and there's
Is that like the community cup or something like that, or there's
no. There's
leagues,
that
or?
too.
Uh-huh.
This is the top. So it's ASA, AYSA, where we grew up in ASA, and then there's US Club. So they do a state cup, and then ASA does a state cup, and then there's a bunch of teams that are too good to play state cup. So we don't know where the town is as a college recruiter. I don't know where they are, but we have two state.
Don't the parents tell you how good they are?
Well, well, of course. Yeah, they're always telling us that. But it's different. But when we play, we actually played against each other in the state final. We're in a double header, and you guys beat us. I think Chris Crook was on your team.
Yeah.
We had Johnny Holt.
Yeah. Remember he ran through
J.J.
Ryan
Colebrook
Marr?
was on your
Remember
team.
he creamed Ryan Marr?
Oh, yeah. Well, that
Ryan got up fighting, though.
Yeah. Johnny Holt,
That was
man.
a good that was definitely some good competition back then.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. We knew where the players were. So I'm going to read you. I got an email from a listener, and I'm going to read it to you. And it's kind of talks about what they're going on. They're very confused. Like, how's this all work? Kind of like things were confusing to us when we were trying to figure out how to work because our parents didn't know. But they had some questions. So I got an email, and I changed the email a little bit. So, and I know she's listening, so I want to make sure she's not feeling like I'm outing her. I'm not. I changed some things, but this email just came yesterday. It says, "Hello, Coach. Longtime listener, third-time emailer. I was wondering if you still offer consultation services for youth players. I've been a longtime listener to your podcast, and I've tried to instill the soccer values and culture that you preach. This year, we find ourselves at a crossroads. My daughter is with Phoenix Rising since she was 5 years old, but I noticed early on that she wasn't getting the technical ability going to her team practices. The last 2 years, we have been participating with Rising MLS Next. Over 2 years and 2 coaches changes, I've noticed some changes. One coach would place my daughter on the team, but then slowly handed the team over to another coach. Well, I noticed Coach A liked playing with my daughter. Like playing my daughter. We have those problems too. And Coach B seemed to like my daughter's style less, leading to more bench time. The move or push felt like they wanted bigger, faster kids despite technical ability. Future tryouts have revealed more of this trend. My daughter is very technical, but doesn't have the speed and commanding size and strength they want. After the first year, Coach B was going to be in the sole coach, and he invited my daughter back. I had my hesitations, but she really wanted to be with her friends. Well, we didn't make it through the summer before Coach B handed in his resignation, and we found out that the other coach, Coach C, was going to be our new coach. This change has created a great turbulent year, including limited game time and coaching style that doesn't work. At this point, it was going to be a mutual separation at the end of the season. They want to bring on players that are more impactful to the game with size and speed, and I want to maintain our love for the game and continue development, but still compete at a high level. My daughter's entering high school this year, and I would love her to play. And she's asking for recommendations of where should she go, and a coach, player, all that stuff. So to unpack all that, Freddie,
That's crazy.
3 coaches, just constantly changing out, resignations handed out, different philosophies, different thoughts, all from the same club. When we played, how many? You probably could name all your coaches.
Yeah, but that was way back when.
Name all your coaches. Can you remember them?
I mean, there was Joash Dukes.
Yep.
Right. And
Lucky on that one.
Every there, I mean, he's the one who made me a goalkeeper. I owe a lot to him. And then Lewis was always kind of there, but Lewis would never let me play with that.
That was
squad.
with Trent Talk then.
No. This was
Santos.
Santos.
Okay.
At the very beginning, but I played baseball as well, and I was told that there was only one Bo Jackson, so I never played with that squad. And then that was right around the time where they started charging to coach, and so this is probably 89, 90. 88, yep. 89, 90, and our parents were like, we don't have money for coaches, and our dads had coached us growing up and said, we'll just take a team to Sunburst
Flames,
right? And they said, we'll just get a club and we'll create a team, and that was and then from there went to AZFC, and that's when Mike started playing a little more serious, and that was Carlos Zavaleta and John Kelly.
Kelly,
and then
John Kelly's back at Brophy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how long he's going to stay there, but he's coaching Brophy again.
Is he the head coach there?
Yes. He just came back to cover. They had a lot of turnover lately.
Well, I know that George was there, right? Archie's older brother.
Yeah, Archuleta was there. Uh-huh. Archuleta is now back at his old school, O'Connor.
Yeah, okay.
And, John Kelly is back. And I've been texting John Kelly recently. He's going to be on this podcast, which I'm very excited about because I don't think he cares anymore. For us. Like he has no filter.
Well, so he it was them two, and then, but again, I was young. I was only, I was very kind of timid and intimidated by these kids that were amazing going off to play at, FIU and
Santa Clara, and that's Derek Burnell, right?
Yeah, and man, Point Loma, Chad, played over there, Chad Swank. There's tons of guys. I mean, it was pretty impressive. And then after that, Jason Moon coached us, that squad, and then then it kind of rolled into DRAC.
DRAC Attack.
Yeah. So but to your point, I think, but there wasn't as many options. There weren't as many for soccer at that.
Yeah. Well,
I think at that level,
the limited options, Freddie. You names. I recruit now. I've been recruiting 20 years, so I'm seeing the club game nonstop. There isn't a bunch of Derek Burnells.
No,
doesn't exist. That kind of speed. Have you seen Derek Burnell?
I don't know. Dude, I don't know. I know.
So fast, so athletic.
Yeah, I played with him and against him.
Yeah, but that doesn't exist. That's what I'm questioning.
They're playing. Really, that doesn't exist. I find that hard to believe.
You would think, okay. Derek Burnell played AZFC, Brophy, ended up going to Santa Clara, fast, athletic, like Sasha Hunter. There's not athletes like that today. You would think there'd be a lot more because the game's grown. There'd be like 15, 20 of them. That athletic? No. No, not. Basically, Freddie, how many of your coaches were A license?
There was no license.
Exactly.
There was no license, but that was the thing. Davey, back when we were kids, if you had an accent, you were qualified to be a coach, right? That was the time, right?
And some of my coaches had an accent, and then it went away, and it came back. Inside joke, but everyone else pretty much knows the story on that
what's
one.
happening there.
So Derek Burnell, Greg Vanny, you had I remember Chad Polifka. Oh, Polifka.
Yeah, he was older, but they were there's good talent here. Good talent.
Chad Polifka. His quads. Remember his quads? How tall was he? 6'4"? 6'4", could strike the ball right, left foot. His quads were so like horse legs. And he was just a freaky athlete. There was a lot like that.
And you're saying that's not out there today. You're saying that. Man, my nephew played high school. He played Madison football, and he's a junior. And I think he's decent. Plays with the squad, and there were some kids out there with some speed. There was definitely some kids out there with some talent, but that's just a little sample. And I have to think with all of these leagues, and maybe you know better than me, with these MLS Next or whatever the top tier is, those kids don't shine above everyone else.
No, it's so the problem. So say there's Derek Bernal's out there and Chad Polifka's and whatever. Yes, they're out there. The problem is, back when we played, AZFC had them all. Cisco had them all. It's not like that anymore. Yeah. You talk at MLS Next. MLS Next, there's like 6 per age group. The talent is spread out. Like no one's like recruit. Like when we play, I had players from Tucson, Flagstaff.
Is there a convergence though? Is there a convergence of this talent anywhere?
No,
there's nowhere at all.
No, because everyone's battling. Everyone's battling for the dollar. We're better. Everyone's convincing them to come play versus we're going to win state cup. It's not that anymore. No, families and kids don't, like, I always thought about, I want to win state, I want to region, I want to win a national title. That's how I thought. Isn't that what you wanted to win state?
That was the goal.
It's not a big deal anymore. If you say you want to say, I don't do state cup. That's beneath me. I play a regional league. We play out of state competition.
But is there? I have to imagine there's a championship for regional league, right? I mean,
there's a bunch of region. Yeah, you could win a league title and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, like when it comes to Arizona, and I'm not saying it's like this everywhere. I think Arizona is special when it comes to fighting and dealing with that. There's no one really evolving and taking over anything. Everyone's just stealing talent as they steal.
But so that's, I mean,
there's no ODP. ODP
but isn't
doesn't
that
matter.
Kind of like, I don't know, just how society is now. Everyone wants something now, right? So if I'm not playing, I mean, think about it. And I don't mean to sound like that, but we were very lucky that we didn't sit on the bench. But we had a lot of teammates that didn't start and a lot of teammates that were on the practice squad and didn't play a lot, right? But nowadays, those kids are like, screw this. I'm going to go play. I'll go somewhere where I can play or go do something else I want to do. And the parents behind them are saying, yeah, hey, I don't want to watch you sit on the bench. I don't know. Maybe it's too old school, but.
Here's another comment that I got. Says, over the years, youth soccer has undergone a significant shift in focus, with many players and parents placing more importance on league and club that they belong to rather than the actual competition itself. This shift has led to a decrease in the value placed on competitions such as State Cup, as clubs and leagues prioritize their own interests and reputation over the success of their players. Exactly. But
how do you change that? I mean, how do you like? I think go back to that first email you were reading. Like, how do you get something in place where you have a community of people that want to see people, soccer players succeed and do better and grow within the game competitively and as well as humanistically.
Yeah.
How do you? I mean, I'm a bit removed from the game, as far as from the club level. My daughters didn't go down that path, but my nephews kind of are in it. So I'm here, but I'm not as a parent saying. But my girls played volleyball, and I can relate to where it's like, well, what is the coach doing, and that kind of thing.
So I don't know what the solve is. I don't. Far as fixing that, the money is money. Youth soccer's everyone's gonna try to survive in this world as they're surviving. They chose soccer, and I'm fine with that. Get paid for your time. Time is valuable. But where I have a problem is U.S. soccer at the top. They have millions of dollars, and they keep allocating to like more facilities, like the U.S. national team training center, $55 million. They allocate it to the top portion of our developments to the national to the least 0.001% of U.S. soccer. They're giving them money to, versus do something a little bit differently, like take that $55 million instead of building a training center with great classrooms and all this stuff. We have plenty of that. If they would just make ODP valuable, like ODP should be free. ODP should be the best players in Arizona, California. There has to be something that identifies these are the best players. It can be done, but everyone's like, no, don't take my player. You can't have them that weekend and kind of crap like that. But U.S. Soccer can come in and mandate, no, this is what it is. We're paying for it. We need to identify the talent. And we have to do something like that, or take some of that portion of that money and put it in like Dallas or Phoenix or LA and create an academy in one city and just get the best talent, develop them, and see what happens. Phoenix is bigger than most countries that compete in the World Cup. I don't know what we're doing. There's a lot of talent here.
There is.
But they're not getting
people
the
don't want to,
opportunity.
they don't want to spend the time, right? People, I mean, and it's growing up, you had, when Santos first came in, you had the 76. That's my age, right? That the year, right? That was really the one that ended up going to, nationals and nationals in the club, right? I remember when all those players started with Lewis and dribbling the ball, and the counterpart went to play with Drac and Excel. And I remember probably for the first 2-3 years, Cisco would just wax Santos, because they were athletes, and they were decent games, but they would always beat them. And then over time, as the training started to kick in, the Cisco players, right, they kind of just stayed the same, right? They didn't progress, and they were good. They were good athletes, but you saw these Santos players begin to blossom and really take control. And then next thing you know, people were jumping teams and things like that. But you had those kids that stayed together and lost and were, kind of pushed to stick together. So
I remember watching Joash coach. I think it was Trent Talk at the time. He only had it was the 76 group. He only had 5 kids at Toledo Park, and we drove by. That's all he had for 6 months. They're just dribbling. And then they ended up winning nationals 2 years later. I'm like, what the heck? And Santos is crazy, because I remember when you got a Santos player that defected, left. We're done with Santos. We're coming over here. You knew what you're getting. You're getting this crazy technical player, and you knew they were going to be good. You couldn't say that about any other club. They were different.
Well, you dribbled the ball around for,
5 days a week.
I mean, it was crazy. It was just nonstop,
Yeah. And Santos, it really doesn't exist anymore. No one takes their time and puts that kind of energy into a team anymore of 5 days a week training. It's 2. They'll say 3 or 4, but it's not with that same coach.
Yeah, it's speed and agility and all that. Yeah.
Well, it's not. They can't. There's our air conditioning again. It's a live show every Sunday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, unless I get banned from YouTube. But now I can do Facebook Live, Twitter Live, so we're good to go. Make sure
Quit saying banned from YouTube. I think every time you say that,
that's probably horrible. Yeah, I'm on hiatus from YouTube, but I'll be back on YouTube next Sunday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Find us there. So, Freddie,
show's not over yet. So.
No, it's not even close. Freddie, a couple questions I have for you. As a goalkeeper, what would you? I remember when we took a goalkeeping class with Little. What was his name? We took it. It was here at PC, I think. Oh no, it was in South Phoenix. We took a goalkeeping 1 and 2 class, and you got in a debate with the goalkeeper coach, because he's talking about, do you do hands to the ball or do you do feet to the ball? Remember you had that little
I think
bit?
so, yeah.
All right, so and I don't know. So where do you stand on that today?
So I mean, I think if I remember correctly, as a player's coming in,
Mhm.
you know, in the 18, and as a goalkeeper, you know, are you tacking, you know, if you split the box from penalty mark left to right, and a player is coming in from, say, the left-hand side, would your hands, you know, would your feet shoot out towards a post or towards the penalty mark? And I think, you know, from my perspective, I was one that my hands would always be on the insides of the goal versus my feet.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think his point was to kind of go feet first to get the ball. I don't recall totally, but yeah, I mean that would be my perspective there is attack the ball with your hands, tuck your head for sure.
And I remembered it because we're taking this goalkeeping class, and the instructor was Chad Little. I forgot his name, but last name was Little. But
Okay.
he worked with the national team,
Uh-huh.
and you were taking him on. I'm like, dude, this is good. I'm like eating popcorn. I don't know what they're talking about, but you stood your ground. You're like, that doesn't make sense. Like, and now that the way you're explaining it, that doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, I get.
If that's the right scenario, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, I'm sure it's in the goal. Every kind of situation could be, you know, defended in a unique way. I think so.
That, yeah, you could talk about Jorge Campos. I mean, he would stay off the near post, and
Yeah,
he
for
would take
sure.
away the
Yeah.
cross, and he had a lot of success. And it, you know, I think the one thing you don't want to do as a coach is say this is the only way, because players change the
Yeah,
game.
for
They
sure.
create, like the bicycle kick. No one taught that. You know, it just happened.
Pele taught it, didn't he?
Who's
Did
that?
you see Hot Shots?
No, I've not seen that. But
Come on, back in the 80s. Come on.
I'm not a. I can't remember past COVID, so like everything's a blur. So
So what's been your club experience though with your kids?
Goofy. So with Cody, I pulled my whole family out of club like twice. Like, we're done. We're taking a year off, and we just train and train with, like, I would have Jack's been trained with the PC guys like
Gotcha.
early.
Yeah, but you have the resources and
Yeah.
you have the knowledge to do that. When you say pull them out of a club, what was the reason
Like
for doing
soccer. Like, it was because it was so focused on winning at all costs, and it was so angry on the sideline. And for me, it's like, I'm already an angry person. I don't need it to be more. Like, Sunday championship day, it's so stressful. You could feel like the negative energy. Like, everyone's like has to win, and I'm like, get me out of here. And just the fight. I saw Sasha Hunter yesterday, state final. One of his teams was in it, and the parents of his club got in a fist fight with the parents of the other club, and cops were there. It was nuts, and I didn't see it. He was just telling me, and he's like, "Don't put this on your podcast." I'm like, "Well, what are you talking about?" Well, I don't know what happened, but everyone's so stressed out. I'm like, I don't like it at all. Like,
Yeah.
so like when I was like observing the Sabbath, like I would use I'm going to church on Sunday. I'm obeying the Sabbath. Anything to get me out of Sunday, because it was miserable. I'm so much happier when I'm just home with my family and not with that angry. Like,
So are they not playing? You would be there with who? Who are you?
So-
who is this championship Sunday for? For
just-
your kids, or you like this is something you're helping run?
Oh no, they'd be my kids.
Okay, I gotcha.
So like even coaching, I would avoid it like death. Like, I don't. It's the worst because everyone has to win, and it's too stressful. Like, it ruins everything. I want to be happy, and
But aren't you the coach, or no? You're just a parent at that point.
No, I'm a coach and a parent because I have multiple kids. But I hardly ever coach my kids. I would usually coach other teams, and then do that. I haven't.
So if you came in or someone came in and kind of prioritized the happiness factor that you're talking about, would kids leave because now we're not competitive, and the coach just wants us to have fun, and we're going to lose some and win some. But
I'll give you. So Louis Dabo did a great job, and Louis Dabo would be like, he had his sidelines under control, and if a parent was misbehaving, he would sub that player out and send the player to sit with mom and dad.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, your coach wants to see you," kind of thing. Stryker does a good job. Like the sidelines are controlled, and Stryker doesn't mess around. Stryker will go back old school, LCM kind of thing. So
come on. Oh, come on.
Hey, Stryker was don't want to mess with Stryker. So, and he's the nicest guy in the world. But I remember I was coaching. I was at Jack's game, who plays for Stryker, and for whatever reason, I was talking to one of his players behind the bench because I'm like, "Hey, in that situation, like spin or turn out of it or whatever." I was coaching, and then Stryker turned and says, "Like I felt bad." Like he said, "Don't talk to the players ever. You're a parent. You get over there." I'm like, "I'm so sorry," and I felt so stupid. And but he treated me the same as any parent. Good. And I went to him after, "I'm so sorry," and all that stuff. But I respect him for that.
Yeah.
Be consistent, have control of that. Doesn't matter. Just there's one voice, but the parents are chill. They're not coaching from the sideline. So it can be done. It helps the kids enjoy the game.
Without a doubt. But that's unfortunately that's coaching, right? And setting the expectation of how you expect your parents to act and how that reflects your child, emotionally or even physically on the field.
Very, very few coaches do that. Very few.
Yeah. Well,
like 6.
It goes back to you don't have time to do that, right? I got to figure out how I got to make some money.
Well, it is a problem because if you're stern with your parents, you may lose them
for sure,
and you lose some earnings or whatever.
Well, I think what also happens is you might have a coach that is not as confident or not as knowledgeable, and when a parent approaches them about playing time or about a question, who's doing what or why, and they have a hard time responding to that. They maybe feel overwhelmed with that parent coming in, and that parent, by the way, is paying, right? So once you attach that dollar, there has to come some expectation towards playing time, I would think. Yeah. Well, it's not easy. So I stopped coaching club in 2013. I've been gone a long time, and I just came back because Jet decided he wanted to play. How old is he? Jet at the time was 10, just turned 11, so he's U12, and got him on a team at State 48, and then the coach was having a child, and so he quit. And so they called me asking if I would do it, and I'm like, and I agreed to do it. I did not sleep that night. I'm like, what did I just do? Yeah. Because I didn't want to go back ever. So how did you find that club, and how did you decide on that club then? It was close. It was close. Proximity, like to your house? Yes, Friendship Park. And it, like, my son was doing like all the sports, and so we go to Friendship Park to go to tryouts, and I don't know where to go, and I see these kids, these Hispanic kids, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I'm thinking, how do I tell my son why he got cut? Because he's not playing. He's been off for 5 years, and suddenly he's a soccer player at 11. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be tough. And I go talk to them, like, is this the tryout? They're like, no, it's over there. And I see it as a bunch of kids that look like him, and like, nice. It's rec. Yeah. And I'm like, thank you. He can make this team. I think they need players. So it worked out. And my son, I was so proud, like, because he after COVID and stuff, they're always on their electronics. Yeah, he's just like, he doesn't want to go outside, and it's summer, and the coach is running laps. And I'm not a fan of running laps, but in this situation, I love it. Jet's running laps, and he's doing it like in 110 degrees. I'm like, what the heck? Like, the discipline side, the workout, just suffering a little bit, than being inside.
I was like almost in tears. Like, I can't believe he's gonna do that. I don't care about soccer. I care about he's outside and he's working hard. So then that's what they presented it to me. I'm like, I couldn't sleep. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And anyways, so I took it, and within 2 months, kid you not, one of the parents tried to get me fired. And I don't even get paid.
Well, that's nothing new.
I know. That's why I don't want to be in it. So, and she had good reasons. I was.
So wait. I want to go back to as far as the club itself. Are there like professionals in the club that get paid to coach and all that? And what I mean, are they real professionals? Like, what's the what is it? What qualifies as a real professional these days? Someone paid you to play, or
I don't know. I don't want to trash my own club, but I will.
No, don't trash any club. But I mean, and I'm not. I'm just trying to say what you say.
It's not like a Scottsdale club where everyone is certified and all this stuff, and they have 7 full-time coaches. We have like 1 full-time coach, and then is the director of coaching, and he oversees it and tries to manage it. A lot of good people working there, but it's not like.
But do they get paid? Do coaches get paid?
Yes.
And that comes from like monthly
the registrations. Yeah, it costs some money. I don't want to pay.
Yeah.
So
and that's twice a week, and he's under 12. He's not U12.
2 to 3 times a week. We go twice, but the thing is, it's like it's always playing. Always a weekend. You lose everything. Like your weekends are gone. All this stuff. And what's worse is like we were put in the wrong division and we are getting smashed. I mean, 17.
17-0.
We won 1 game last year. So think about that. So I'm part of PC. We're number 1 in the country for like 14 weeks, and then I'm coaching my son's team where we're just get 15 to 18-1, just repeat mode, and with parents from the sideline with clackers, like
after each goal.
Oh, horns, everything. I'm like, this game has changed. I'm like, they're making you want to fight them, and it wasn't like
this is all, and these are different teams, or this is all within the club. You're playing other clubs.
Playing other clubs. Getting smashed.
And you talk to the coaches after the game at all?
Freddie, yeah, I would talk to him angrily. Like, what is this? This is disgusting. What do they say?
Like, what?
I don't know. I have a podcast ripping.
I don't know. I would have a hard time with that. You don't want to just be like, all right, dude, 17 goals, really? What's that?
And they're not connecting like 3 passes in a row.
Yeah, just one kid running in front of everyone.
And it would be very embarrassing to not have the ball. But just to put goal after goal, just kick it and run you over, and that's the problem. Like there's a lot of talent out there, especially the younger ones. They're so athletic, but they're not teaching them. They're just like hammer them. Oh, I switched the forwards to the defense and defensive forward, but you just kept kicking it forward and murdering these kids, and then followed with the clockers and stuff. And it's not. This is like East Valley parents.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so we played this like all Mormon team, and I'm Mormon. And I'm like, I was so angry. Just like, I'm like, way to choose the right.
You tell me you didn't play on Sunday?
No.
Okay.
It was a Saturday, but yeah. But anyways, I don't know. We're not talking about that anymore. But,
yeah, let's not talk about it.
Yeah, so Freddie, it's sidetrack a little bit. We'll come back to youth soccer in America, which is very unfortunate at times. I want to talk about it was 1996 when you won the national title with Green Canyon.
Yes, right? It was. Yeah.
All right. So
good times.
And describe that day. Like, who were you playing?
Oh man, I told you.
I remember hearing it on the radio. Like Dave Pratt was promoting it at the time. The 97.9
guy. I
want
to say we played. I'm drawing a blank now. I want to say it was some Michigan team.
It's so funny. No one remembers the ones that take second. But go on.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, it was cool. It was, I mean, when any Final Four, and I didn't understand at the time, but any Final Four experience, that the NCAA puts on is pretty cool. You know, they definitely bring out the banners and where we were at. So I want to say Southern Connecticut was in it. It was I forget the other two teams, but they always want to host it in a kind of a southern state because it's, you know, starting to get cold. So we got lucky and were able to host it at Grand Canyon, which we didn't even have a field. So we put this makeshift field together, which was pretty incredible. And then, you know, played the Final Four, you know, so 2 games there at Grand Canyon. And, you know, everyone's got to play on the field. You know, you can't really blame the field, but there was definitely some complaints about the ball, how hard the ball bounced and such. But yeah, I remember, you know, that day was fun. It was very exciting, and just the brotherhood of folks that, you know, you play with, and just you know, it was good. It was a good time.
How many Arizona guys were on that team?
So I want to say, so myself, Robert Kuzmano, he went to Apollo. Adam Martinez, who went to Cactus. Chris Damon went to Cactus. Scotty Robinson played. He was local too. Played with me at Ironwood.
Sasha Hunter.
Sasha was there.
Chandler High School.
I want to say Ryan Marr.
Yep.
Ryan Marr was on the team, on the squad.
And then
I forget.
which is a lot.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Locals.
Yeah. There definitely were. And I'm sure we're forgetting some. Folks.
And internationally, you had Milos Tomic.
Milos was on. Yep, Milos. In the back, Darren Clare, Nabil Bourkraoui was up front.
So Nabil was from Morocco.
Yeah.
Milos was from Serbia.
Yeah.
And then Darren Clare was from England.
From England, yeah. Stevie Gill from Canada.
Yeah. And he was he was on the Canada national team.
Yeah.
Who else do you have? Internationally. I think you had 2 Moroccans, I thought.
No,
just on the Thunder. We had a couple, but how many guys were even on the team back then?
Yeah, you know who else? Crook.
Chris Crook.
Yeah,
that's
Chris
right.
Crook was he was a local boy, right?
Yep.
I'm trying to think who else was on there. Yeah, that was that's always a funny story with going into the national championship game. Drac puts up the lineup and he puts 12 on the board.
Who corrected him?
I would think someone was like, "Hey, you know who else?" No, John, he was not there. But I forget who corrected him. But and then I think he said, "Oh," and then I think he took Crook off. I'm not sure, but yeah, that was a fun group of guys. I went there all 4 years, right? So it was kind of a little bit of growing up there, and it was Grand Canyon was nothing like it is today.
No,
nothing. I mean, there was still Southern Baptist, no dancing type stuff.
I remember going on a recruiting tour at Grand Canyon. It was just like 2 buildings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And now it's like they're playing a $13 million stadium.
Oh, it's amazing now. It is. It's good for them. I mean, it was.
And you guys were just inducted into the Hall of Fame, right? For or the 20-year anniversary or whatever it was.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know that we were inducted maybe before that, but then there was a little something there, which was really cool. That was cool to see some folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was, one of those things where we tried to make it as big school as we could, and it was, and I think one of the things that for me playing there as a D2 school, which I don't even know if it's still the same today, but I know that, the ability or the D2 level, you had the ability to have players that were older.
Yeah.
So
not anymore.
I mean, I remember playing Southern Connecticut, and it was like, holy cow, that's a man right there.
Yeah, all international too.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, as an 18-year-old kid, like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
and then I mean, even Darren playing with Claire, it was like, holy shit.
Darren Clare, that guy, I remember when he was playing for the Sand Sharks, just trying out, and he ultimately quit because he got ticked off because he was having a baby and he missed practice for having a baby, and Louis Dabo wasn't happy about that, and that led him to leave. But I remember Darren Clare would hit balls in indoor at Soccer Locker where they have the fencing up high, and the ball would just travel like an inch above and land right on your foot, like he trapped the ball for me, and I can't trap back then. And I'm like, what? He just perfect. I've never seen anything like that. Like his ability to distribute the ball is ridiculous. So like you working with Darren, so Darren was in front of you.
Yeah.
Did you like anytime you had would you just like get the ball to Darren so he could distribute, or?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I would. I mean, when you have someone like that who can put it, 70 yards on someone.
And he had the long hair back then, right?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But we had, I always was kind of had, amazing backs. So I was lucky with that. So.
Well, what would you recommend like the youth today? So like there's a player, his name is TJ. He's a goalkeeper for my son. His dad played Division I football, 6'6" linebacker. And I coached him when he was younger, and his mom just told me today, saying, "I remember when you put my son in goal. I hated you." And she remembers what I told him. I'm like, "Listen, genetics matters. He's tall and goofy. His dad is 6'6". He has a better chance to be a Division I goalkeeper than a Division I field player." So she told me that. She was so mad at me.
And this is, how old is he?
Oh, like 9. But like genetics matter.
Genetics matter. You're feeding into everything you were just talking about.
I know. Well, he's now 6'3", unbelievable goalkeeper.
Nice.
He went to Argentina with Stryker, and they went.
Okay, nice.
And they offered him there, like they're flying him out to do an academy. They want to sign him pro already. So yeah, smart.
I mean, that's cool.
Honesty matters.
That's awesome. I mean, if someone can get paid and play and live that dream, that's awesome. But I mean, I don't know that it's that easy, right?
No, the situation is like American goalkeepers have done well.
Hell yeah.
Field players have not.
Yeah.
But goalkeepers have made it up and to the Premier League a long time ago before field players did, because we're known with our hands, and we have a lot of athletes, and it's not every day you get a player who mother played college soccer, dad played Division I football, and he's taken his dad's side. I mean, he's just still growing.
Yeah, no, I mean that's awesome.
So he goes over there to Argentina, and TJ's like, because they merged 05-06, he's like kind of like the backup keeper, because the 05 is really good, but TJ, you could see in his body type, his athleticism,
sure, yeah.
are like,
he's still growing probably.
Oh yeah, he's pretty athletic, and like you can teach him a little bit more and resell him to and that's how it is. They sell players. They saw a higher dollar mark on the backup keeper. They grabbed him, put him over with like their main squad. Like he disappeared. They're like, where'd TJ go? Oh, the coach took him. They took him, and now he's going to have a great opportunity to go at least be in a real academy in the summer and get developed that way.
That's awesome.
But
I mean, and that's the way a club structure should work, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's when
we don't do that here.
We don't, no. But when you see that, and I was excited to hear, and I was probably naive to hear, about Phoenix Rising, and they have a club program, and to think in my mind like, hey, they could build something like a real club program, right? That would feed into a professional club program. But I don't know that that's going to happen here anymore, because everything is so business driven. Everything is so, everyone wants to make money, right?
Yeah. And that's what's goofy about here, we don't look at players like that player is going through a growth situation. We just need to keep developing his skill as they're growing like crazy and develop them. We're like, nope, you can't help us win this weekend because you're growing weird. Get out. And then they end up doing baseball, basketball. They'll do something else because we'll cut kids at 9, 8. It's goofy what we're doing. It's fixable. I think the U.S. could win World Cups now if we would go after the talent and not send them away in the way we do. So it's really bad. And going back to what we were originally talking about like when we played, winning mattered so much. A state title mattered so much. We would do whatever it took to get those players. We'd pay for them. We did whatever it took. Parents would get together and do that to make sure they could win a state title, win a regional title, national. Everyone wanted to do that. Today, it's not that way. So all the top Hispanic players, when they get about high school, it's over because they're not MLS Next. Well, that costs money. Yeah. Oh, you have to, you live in Avondale? Well, you need MLS Next is in Deep Gilbert. You got to be there 3 times a week. It's not going to happen.
But Davey, when we were growing up, right, when going to winning a state cup and going to regionals, right, that was it, right? That's what you wanted to do, and then maybe go to nationals. There was, at least for me, there wasn't a out of state. There wasn't a big, you'd go to your couple out of state tournaments, but nothing like this at a level where you're like the best of the best. So like right now, is regionals even a thing anymore? Like, do they do that anymore?
Yes, but it's
just all watered
it's just
down?
like a tournament, and they allow so many people to get in. There's so many different pathways to get in, and there's we have 2 state cup champions of the first flight, and then they have the watered down one, the B level state championship, but you still get a pathway to regionals and win a regional title and a national title in a rec competition. It's very goofy. But like, so when you played with the AZFC, you guys were in the region final. I remember you guys were winning.
Yeah.
I was at that game.
Yeah, we were there. I think Northern Cal.
Yeah.
We lost to Northern Cal.
Yeah.
In that game.
And
then the next year, I think that was the year, I think that was in New Mexico that following year.
You guys got in the finals twice?
No, I think we lost in the semis actually that year too. So.
Yeah. I remember you guys were, you were, I forget which game, but you guys were up 2-0 and you ended up losing like 4-2 or something. But back then, Northern Cal and Southern Cal would like sweep everything. They'd be in the finals the whole time. But that's not the case anymore.
The experience was so amazing. The experience was amazing to go through that. That was, but like you said, now there's so many different leagues. Hasn't the amount of kids playing soccer just grown exponentially? And now
it's still rec. So I'm at Bell Bank watching state.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around. I'm like, this is rec. Like goofy kids are playing, like can't even trap the ball. But that they're paying a lot of money to learn how not to trap a ball. It's bad. Like if you walk over, they're like, what the it's bad. It's bad. It's not fun to watch. I'm like, this is state semis? What is this? Like, it's weird. The game's grown, but it's growing with the wrong talent because it's who can afford to keep playing. It's just too expensive, man. So, example, back when we played, we had Salvation Army, an all-African team. Okay, where are they today?
There's no one around? No?
All African teams? We have African leagues here. Mm-hmm. There's an African team.
Like men's league? Or
they call it Congo FC. I get some ballers from there. But Salvation Army, man, there's guys we played. I was called a cracker And I told my mom, I'm like, the guy called me a cracker. What's a cracker? And she's just laughing.
You are a cracker.
I am. I was called a cracker at 12.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but that's because winning mattered. They would formulate top talent, and I remember, I was fast for a white kid. I was stupid fast.
Fast, Dave. I don't know if the podcast community know how fast you really were.
No, but
I don't know that people know. You're one of the most fastest humans I've ever seen run.
Yeah, that's why I chose soccer, because I knew there was no athletes over there. But we're playing South Bank. I'm on a breakaway. No one's near me. And this Salvation Army guy came from like 40 yards, caught me, killed me, like knocked me out, like just got the ball, laid me out, and he caught me. I'm like, he was so far away, and I was stupid fast. They're not out there anymore.
I don't know, man. Come on.
I forgot his name, but he actually got drafted in the NFL, and now he's in jail. He got in trouble. But but they're athletes, and they exist. But we won't go in those neighborhoods anymore. We're not going to do inner city and get athletes to play soccer to win. That's gone. You'll get a little bit, but not a full team. Like Musso Toros. Remember them?
I'm a product of the Musso Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
tell me about Musso Toros. How what was your experience?
Toros was 1 year older than me. I remember we were the Musso Stallions, and that was coming out of AYSO, right? So it was like we played AYSO for 3, 4, 5 years and said, let's get into the club thing. It was parent driven, right? My dad coached. And Musso was just, I want to say it was Maryvale, maybe? I don't know, whatever the
acronym is.
Maryvale Unified Soccer Organization, something like that. Anyway, and so all my buddies, I remember they were a bit older, they played on the Toros. And they were big, fast, strong. And it was, a bunch of kids that had a lot of life issues, going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Paying for soccer was never a priority or something that came easy. But I saw them beat a lot of kids, or a lot of teams. That was a fun club. Musso.
I never met anyone that was. I had no idea you're from Musso.
So there was the Musso, and then the Musso Kids was the name of the team that was, I think my age, 76. So, yeah, that's what was your experience with them? You got run over?
They were good. I remember them beating us in state. They're just they had talented Hispanics. They had Africans that could run. They were a problem.
Yeah.
And you never dealt with those kind of teams. I usually dealt with teams, the purple team, the Diamondbacks, but when Musso Toros showed up, I'm like, where'd they come from? And because they want to win state.
And you were playing with the Shamrocks?
Shamrocks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we have a comment from Andreas.
You were from the east side. You weren't from the west side, Dave. So.
Chi Mountain area. So
yeah, that's east.
I grew up with Stryker Aguilar area.
Yeah.
So I was always scared. All right. So Andreas says, by the time you are done with this live podcast, you will see more leagues, new platforms. It is usually the losing power. Then they form a new movement with other outcasts. This is like every 2 years. The league is sanctioned by the organization. That one is sanctioned by another organization. Elite this, Premier this, Elite 64 with Elite 1250 soon, chiming in from Chicago. So, facts.
I mean, if it's happening, it sounds like it's happening everywhere. I mean,
yeah, because
it's unfortunate, because it's a great sport to get kids into and translates coordination wise across the board.
Yeah,
right. But it's we're a capitalistic country, man. Everyone wants to make some money.
It gets crazier than that, Freddie. I don't know if you know this, but so there was a 2006 Tuzos team. Unbelievable. Number one in the country. They got invited to the Prospects Cup in Florida, which is the top teams in the world. Man City was there. Barcelona was there. LA Galaxy, Dallas Academy, and Tuzos. Like, what?
Yeah.
Tuzos? What are they doing there? I was watching them on Facebook Live because I coach a lot of those kids. They play with my son, Jack. And then they went to Tuzos and got better and better. And they're number one team in the country. And they're balling. And 175,000 people watching them live throughout the world. And I'm like, what?
How'd they do?
They won one, tied one, lost 2-0. But, they're showcasing ability. So that it's basically the top 12-year-olds in the world come together in Florida. They kind of organize that. And the next year, Del Sol buys the coach, takes the team, splits them up on 2 different teams, and they're done. Gone. They went from an all-Hispanic team.
So Tuzos isn't, they just took all
those 6 gone.
Yeah, really?
They bought it. They bought the coach, took the team, gone. They went from number one in the country to, we're going to play Del Sol. They have a college showcase program or whatever they say to get them to go. And they destroyed it. You went from number one in the country. What's more better than that? Oh, we have the pathway. And they left. And that happens time and time again. We destroy talented teams. And culture matters.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. That's what happens. It's crazy. And I've told that story I don't know how many times in different ways.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
It's still
Talking about the old days. Did you ever go to Dallas Cup?
Yeah.
Did you ever go there? I never made it there. That was like a showcase of showcases, right? That was like the.
Yeah.
What do you went there with?
Mike Cook.
on Asylum? Is that the team? Mike Cook, he played on AZFC with us too. Man, there's a bunch of Apollo cats that played over there.
Yeah, Mike was a baller. He's a firefighter now. He had his kids in my Palm Valley Soccer League back in the day. But yeah, Mike Cook was crazy. Ray Walcott was on our team.
Ray.
Yeah.
All right.
So these are athletes. Like Ray's
for sure.
Division I basketball player playing soccer because he's athletic and technical, But yeah, and he played at Grand Canyon too.
Yeah,
I think after you.
No, I played a semester with him.
Really? Okay.
Him and Randy came over. That was my freshman year. Yeah.
Randy Soderman.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And they played. Yeah, they just came there to play soccer.
Yeah.
But, they weren't too jazzed about going to school. I don't think.
Yeah. Don't blame them.
But we had a good squad. We had a real good squad there.
Yeah.
But that was a crazy year because I had that was the first year they introduced a clearinghouse.
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
So none of us were cleared, and I was pretty upset because I wanted to play. I wanted to play as a freshman. I wanted to really start my career and be in there, and I couldn't even play. Horner was there. Bear was there, which Bear's one of the best in my opinion. Arizona soccer god. But he was there and he played. And then eventually, over time I got cleared, but Scott, Adam, all of us, Robert, all of us freshmen, we weren't even allowed to play, until we went through this clearinghouse through NCAA clearinghouse or something like that. So
yeah, it's a way to make money, and they don't understand soccer. They understand football and basketball, so they don't understand soccer at all. Like, especially so many players have been punished for playing Swazzle League in the summer and stuff. They've since then fixed it, but they've taken eligibility away from kids because they played Swazzle League.
Really?
Swazzle.
Wow.
Because they don't understand what it is. They think it's semi-pro or whatever, but they keep adjusting the rules as they learn. But yeah, no, the early years, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like,
well, that was that. I mean, but that team, I guess my point was that team was, that was killer school. Rob McCarty was on there and Bear was on there. And it was, it was a lot of local talent, a lot of local, Chucky Browder.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He was a stud.
Him and I were there, and
another keeper. Yeah.
Yep. And then all the Southern Cowboys, Diego Bocanegra, Kevin Posey, Eugene Brooks. You were in Eugene, did you ever race him? Yeah.
I'd win.
I thought so too, but you never did race.
I don't think so. But I remember we got to the region championship game.
Yeah.
We're down 3-0. We're down 3-0 to LA Salsa. And they were good. So LA Salsa, they don't even warm up. They just show up with their speaker. They're just playing their music, and they don't even warm up. And they just play, and we're down 3-0. Like, what the heck just happened? And then we scored 2. And then I remember, I'll never forget, I was on a breakaway. I beat the keeper. I passed the ball inside the 6. There's no keeper. I beat him. But I was taken too far wide. And Jukic, Milan Jukic.
Milan. Oh.
Skies the ball over the crossbar. Like inside the 6. You hardly ever see that. And that kind of ended our comeback, and we ended up losing, I think, 4-2.
That was.
But yeah, we should have went to national. But they had a lot of pros on that team. Chile Freires was on that team who played indoor and just. He just retired from indoor like 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. That league's still going.
Yeah, he retired San Diego Sockers.
Oh, right on.
So, but crazy talented. I mean, the reason Cal South and Cal North would win every year is because all the talent was. You should never beat Cal South ever. They're just it's too big.
They were good. Yeah.
And I
wonder what the club system is like over there. It has to be similar, right? I mean, it's got to be. I mean, back in the day, it was the same thing. You had your pillar clubs, right? Just like here, but I mean, I have to imagine it's all over the nation, right? As far as so many kids, not enough scholarships. I got to get kids playing, and I don't know if it's coaches that are trying to make a living out of coaching.
It's too expensive, and they get rid of the older teams because they end up stopping to pay, and it's so focused on creating like MLS Next was the thing, MLS Next, and then they're MLS Next 2, MLS Next 3. So I'm like, what are we doing? I thought this was the next thing.
Yeah,
it's not. It's a name, and they'll change it again. They always do.
Have you seen those guys play?
Yeah. It's hard to tell. Like, I remember recruiting a really good kid, but I was watching him play MLS Next, and I couldn't tell him, like, he's not that good. I can't tell until he played with my college kids because it's so watered down. They don't connect passes, and you can't see if they're good. It's too hard. And it is a mess. We need competition back. State Cup needs to matter. There shouldn't be 2 champions, 4 champions, or whatever in the same age group. It makes no sense to me. 1 champion, 1 State Cup champion, 1 region championship, and 1 national title. Only 4 teams should go nationals. That's it. Not 35 per age group. What are we doing?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean but how do you go back? How do you get to that?
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it is going to happen.
It's too late. Right? The money's too big. Yeah. And the cost of tournaments, oh my word. State Cup's like what, $1,400 now?
That's crazy.
I know. But it is nuts.
$1,400 just to
play in it
per team.
Yeah.
And what does that pay? That's crazy. What does that get you? A ref, like refs, or
very bad officiating because all the good officials have left. It's a crazy world we live in with soccer right now. But there is talent. It's all over the place. Like they're hidden. It's like there's not 1 or 2 or 3 teams that have it all. It's all over. But it's nuts. You could create an all-star team. I mean, fortunately for me at Phoenix College, I get some talent because I can I can put them all on one team. So it's a little different. Like we played RSL, or excuse me, Rising, U19, MLS Next. Supposedly had like 7, 8 Division I guys on the team. I don't know. We won 6-0, had the ball the whole time, and I don't see it. Like back in the day, clubs would mop JUCOs up.
Yeah,
I remember playing Grand Canyon, like when we were on like Saguaros. We just came together. We just destroyed them because the talent came together. I mean, and you can do that today. You know, it's I don't know. Everything's a little different. different. I don't know what the solve is, but I think it's very interesting to have someone that from your era that you name dropped a lot of people that we remember because they were so talented.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, they were a friend. Well, yeah, maybe they're our friends, but man, they were talented. I don't know. Like, if I ask my son, I don't know if he can name drop that many. He'd be like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the way that my club career went, I feel fortunate to play with all these amazing players. You know, it's like to say that. I mean, and I don't want to, dismiss anyone's progress or within a national team, but think that both Greg and Pablo, like I know them and I played with them, and it's like, yeah, I think I played with the best at that era. And then to see like I said earlier, the talent that we had that was around, it just didn't have anywhere to go. As far as a collegiate, you got to leave the state. Unless back then it was Grand Canyon, that was it. But Yavapai. Yeah.
But if you think about like Santos, the 76s, 75s, 78s, 77s. You can talk about Ryan Turner went to Notre Dame. Pablo Mastroni played in
UNC,
Olympics and UNC. Evan
World
Whitfield played for Chicago Fire. He played on the Olympic team. He played at Duke. You can, so many of them played high level because all the top players, they worked hard, came to one place because they trained a lot and people liked that. And then people got smart, like, oh, we can make money off this. Oh, we have this, and then it started separating. You keep talent together on one field, good things can happen. The fact that I have players on my team that played for these academies, now play for me, are going to Gonzaga, are going to San Jose State, are going to Cal Baptist, are going to GCU. How come their club didn't get them there? I'm not a club. They don't pay me, I pay them. It's because we're all in together. And if you're with good talent, you can showcase talent. You imagine playing, you're a keeper, but I couldn't imagine playing with players that were like a couple players that just were average and messed things up. I would punch them. Well, I couldn't do it. But you kind of have to because they fund the team now. So you're going to have that. Like, too many people are funding the team. It's good to have one or two funding team, but not 7. You can't have that mix. You need the top talent together. But, and I'm not saying it's like that all over the place. I just think when you remove competition, that's acceptable. It's just, like, you have to play each other. Like, I coached the 96 Hammers girls, and we could not play Sereno 96. They were too elite. They don't play Arizona teams. They only play California, whatever. They will not play Arizona teams. They're beneath. That's kind of their selling point. We don't play Arizona teams. They're always traveling and playing. So they wanted us in their tournament. And I'm like, I'm not doing your tournament unless we get to play the 96 Sereno. And they're like, well, I don't know about that. And eventually they needed us to fill a bracket. They say, okay, we'll play you, but you have to play back-to-back on a Saturday. We'll take it. It took it. I don't care. So we had a game. We played. They put us against a tough TSA number 2 in the state. We beat them 4-0, and then had to play Sereno. And Sereno was good. Les Armstrong, just boom, boom, just good soccer. And we only lost 2-0, but that's the only way I could get that game. They made us play a really tough team and then play right away. That's what we do here. And Les Armstrong with the beautiful hair, you know what you did. That's what we do. Like, why are we so scared to compete? Let's go play. Let's play. But you're not part of the league. They do crazy things like this, Freddie, where like Tuzos, they punish Tuzos. You cannot play in the top APL league or whatever it was because they had rules on. You have to have so many A-licensed coaches on your staff.
Who's saying this?
The leagues in state. It's not that way today because I think they got sued or something. But they said that, you can't play in this league. You don't have proper facilities, and you have to have a licensed coach coaching that team to be able to play in that league. They do stuff like that. So they would say, hey, I know you work a 9 to 5 and you're working your butt off and you're paying for this team pretty much on your own just to travel and stuff, and you pick them up in your car and whatever. You have to pay $7,000 and miss work for 2 weeks to get your A license. That's what they do. That's pay to play. That's guard. We don't compete. We hide, because you can't have an Hispanic team beat your team when you're paying thousands of dollars and these teams show up with a dad drinking Ducati on the sideline and they just destroy you. You can't have that. Then how do you justify pay? So it's stuff like that, and it's not across the board, but there's moments of that happens, and it's horrible. We need to compete. Everyone should be able to do state cup. It should matter. But
I agree. It definitely should matter. I mean, you have to get back to some type of healthy competition around people or kids the same age. I mean, what's the culmination? That you're saying there's different championships in these different leagues, and then that's just the end of it. Yeah.
They just keep creating a new scam because there's always new parents. It's a new scam all the time, because it used to be DA, Development Academy. DA is crazy because DA, the MLS teams, MLS academies, they're in the first flight, and then they would have like high-level clubs to be second. And then in Seattle, I did a story about this a year and a half ago, maybe longer. It was back when DA was around. A second division team beat an MLS Academy team like 7-0. And they didn't do promotion relegation. It was promotion relegation for everybody except MLS academies. They always had to be first. That's a problem.
Well, that is.
And then eventually they got rid of DA because they didn't like how it was going, and MLS kind of took over and did their own thing, and now we have MLS next. So I don't know. We're not together. We're separated.
Yeah.
Everyone's in their own thing. Like, why can't we just be together and play? It's just play. But I don't know.
Well, bringing everyone together to play, I mean, it sounds like you've been able to accomplish that here at Phoenix College, right? Because you're able to bring kids in, be able to entice them with some, education, as well as some, financials, right?
Yeah. You're frozen, but that's okay. My camera broke on you.
That's all right. I sit real still.
I can fix it. And we're almost done. There you go.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I like that angle.
There you go. You're on camera. There you are.
All right.
You're good to go.
I usually use the other finger, but you're okay.
So, but it is goofy how everything's going with how we.
Well, I mean,
develop.
you're in the community. You're in it. I know you said there's no solve, but what's been talked about? With all the guests that you have on your show, what is at least some path to, bringing back the sport to where it's not all financially driven.
You're not going to get rid of money, but I think, and that's why I kind of like the podcast. It educates a lot of parents, and my biggest fans, my biggest supporters, and the ones that keep me going is like, they'll email me thanking me, like, thanks for letting us know, and they took their kid to. I'm a big proponent of, don't pick a club, pick a coach, because every club has good coaches, but you don't choose this club because they have this pathway that they get the good coach. If we're in that situation, just get a good coach. And don't worry about licensing and all that. But I think if the parents get an uproar, as far as like re-looking things, like we did a good podcast with a gentleman named Bo Byerly, and he did this whole presentation on contact time, and he took what it cost, the registration, and then contact time, how many hours you practice, games, and all that. Mm-hmm. And then he would rank them by club. Some clubs, it was like $55 an hour
Wow.
And then some clubs were like 8.
Okay.
And there's everything in between, and people are like, oh. And it gave them a tool of like, now you can go talk to your club and say, hey, what are we paying for? You know, like.
Well, and I think that's also the thing. I mean, parents maybe that are new and never played soccer and want to get their kids into it, and they progress, you know, after they're little kickers, and then, you know, they go into whatever next level of club or whatever. They might not know about soccer and that, you know, how to identify good coaching.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, right now I'm a big proponent of just the parents are the number one problem. I mean, they'll pay for anything to create an Instagram post or whatever they want to. It's a big problem. I just like stop focusing on winning and not worry about it. Just have fun, because you'll be a better player if you're not thinking about, oh, what if? Just play, be present and play. And now USL Academy is surfacing. That's the next one. USL Academy.
USL. What's it?
United
States Soccer League.
Yeah, Arizona, or the Rising. That's USL. So now they're going to have an academy.
An academy, that's just a whole nother league, essentially?
Another league. We need it. We need another league, because MLS Next.
Yeah.
And ECNL, and there's like the regional league and state league. And
well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, and you would know better than I do, but if you have a league like that that's taking on a Phoenix Rising name, we are here in Phoenix. Is there any tie to the city of Phoenix other than the name? Right? Is there any club structure? Is there any involvement other than they're just called Phoenix Rising? You know what I mean? And the parallel that I would draw would be like, you go to a town in Europe, right? They probably have a soccer club. You might not know of them, but they probably have young kids playing in it and adolescent kids playing in it. Yeah. And 40 years ago, they actually had a team that was pro or whatever, right? Yeah. Because I remember Greg hit me up, Van, he says, hey, you want to come down here in Casa Grande and be the goalkeeper, trainer? And I'm like, man, Greg, I got to make money. I got kids. I can't do that right now. But thinking like, well, man, why is Salt Lake coming down here, right? And then you have, what's the other club? The other
RSL.
So RSL, exactly. So you got RSL coming down from wherever. You got Surf or something coming over from California. Yeah. I mean, and to me, I guess my point is like, well, if there's a local, if it's a Phoenix Rising and it's a club design where there is involvement and they're going to grow it, I would rather put my money and my kids into something like that than something that's going back to Utah, right? And because I have to think that regardless of what they say on RSL badge, there's got to be something funneling back to Utah.
Right. And it's so RSL, they were recruiting one of our kids at the time I was with Tuzos, and they promised the kid that they would get to the RSL Academy in Salt Lake, which is a big deal because it's free. It's the real thing. But they said, but you have to play for us locally for a year. And I'm like, what? Why? If you're good, wouldn't you just go there? Yeah. Like, that's how it's kind of like what I was telling you when we were playing that A-League team from New Mexico. I'm like, I did really well. Why aren't they recruiting me? Kind of thing. Like, what's the pathway?
Yeah,
we didn't have a pathway back then.
You know what? It was always a mystery to me. It was a mystery. Like, why? I think I'm doing well. How come? Yeah. How come there's not more?
Yeah, we didn't have anything like.
But you know what? And I was I don't know. I was very humble and very kind of not one to celebrate my own successes, right? So I wasn't going to tell everyone, hey, look at me, and so I was waiting for people to come to me. Whereas today, I think there's a little bit more aggressiveness towards selling yourself, getting your name and getting your brand out there. Unfortunately, right?
Case in point, this podcast, which is live every Sunday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So, well, Freddie, it's getting late.
It is getting late. Do you work tomorrow?
Yeah, I work 7 days a week.
Come on.
I'm a machine. I'm getting into landscaping. I'm gonna be cutting grass now too.
Yeah?
I'm gonna love it. My field's gonna look like a golf course. I'm gonna cut it 5 days a week.
I don't know
joke.
if that's what you're supposed to do, but okay.
Yeah. Rising cuts theirs 5 days a week. What? We deserve it too.
On this field out here?
Yeah. 5 days a week.
Nice.
We just nip it.
Wolfley's going to let you practice on that field out there?
There's no football here.
None at all?
No.
Come on. Really?
You've been gone a while.
I have.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we haven't had football since like
Seriously?
2018.
No football.
No football.
Wow.
Sorry, Freddie.
That's kind of cool for you.
Yeah, that's my stadium.
That's awesome.
I know.
What's the name of the stadium?
Hoy.
Hoy?
Hoy. It's a past football coach.
Okay. All right.
We're not serving them well.
You're not.
It was.
You're not.
Hey, we didn't cancel it. Maricopa did. So, anyways, that's
Is
it.
that just PC?
No, all Maricopa schools.
No more.
There's no more football. It is sad. That's unfortunate because we're denying a whole population the inability to advance.
If you don't make it I guess this ain't about American football, but if you're done, you don't go to a.
It's a problem.
There's no junior college football.
Even when we had football, we weren't good. We still sent guys to Division I to the pros.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy. But if it wasn't for JUCO, it's bad. I'm a JUCO product. I can imagine, like, if they got rid of sports, they've talked about it. If they got rid of sports, like, how many players that we're last chance you. Like, we give kids opportunity to go play. I mean, we sent kids to Old Dominion, to Cal State Fullerton, to 15 to GCU, all over the country.
Is that a possibility?
They would have
sports?
never. Everything's always a possibility. You never know. So, anyways, let's not end in on a negative note like that. But Phoenix College is awesome right now. I'm going to cut the grass. I'm very excited about that. But that concludes episode 7.
Well, thank you, David.
735. Yeah, 735. Next week we'll be on with 736 with I think Australia guy. Darren Toohey, I think. Somebody. But we'll be back. Thanks you for tuning in.
Darren Toohey, you celebrated a national championship, club national championship with, right?
And he played on the Australian national team for futsal.
Nice.
So, anyways, thanks for coming on, Freddie. I'd love to
pleasure.
have you on again. I'm going to use all the mics. We'll go 4 mics next time.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's get some other folks in here. We can reminisce. Like, we can bring Bruce Binks in and do a Glory Days rendition.
I would totally do that. We will do that. We'll see you next Sunday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.